107.9 Life FM, more music for your morning, and our Friday guest this morning has done a stack of research when it comes to having a healthy pregnancy. Tasha Jennings is a naturopath and a researcher. She's done the reading for us. She's come up with a product that she believes will help you have a great pregnancy. Zycea, we heard a little bit about that. But also in your reading, I guess there are some areas in particular that are important to follow up. If I was to ask you the 5 things that I should look at if I was going to have a baby, which I'm not, I've already had 3, what would they be, Tasha?
If you're looking at your nutrients, the top ones are folate, which you need to get, but the research is showing you should take it in the form of calcium folinate rather than folic acid. Choline is the other thing that's been really under-recognised and is important for brain development and behaviour and cognition and memory, not only to start off with, but later in life. So Zycea Natal Nutrients is the only supplement on the retail market in Australia to contain the choline, and they've actually found that if animal studies don't have sufficient choline in the diet, they actually abort the fetus after 10 days. It is that important to the survival of the infant and the fetus that we do need sufficient choline. So definitely choline up there. Vitamin D is the other thing which is important in a lot of aspects these days we're finding, but particularly for pregnancy, because there is a high demand during that rapid development stage for not only the bones, but again, as we touched on, also the health of the mother. And the deficiency is quite prevalent, so we really need to focus on getting enough vitamin D and getting more than we realised we needed 10 years ago. We actually have tripled the recommended intake of vitamin D.
And, you know, it is really hard to get that vitamin D, even just to sit out in the sunshine. We haven't got time to do that anymore, have we?
And the amazing thing is that Australian and New Zealand guidelines actually recommend supplementation over sun exposure.
Really?
People do say that. I get enough sun, I live in Australia, I'm sure I'm getting enough vitamin D, but these days we don't actually know how much sunlight is okay. They used to say 15 minutes, but that depends on whereabouts in Australia you are, what time of day it is, what gender you are, what your skin type is. That could be too much for one person and not enough for another. They would rather make sure, again, it's your insurance policy to make sure you're getting enough. They'd actually rather you get it from supplementation than excess sun exposure.
So a bit of sunshine in a bottle.
Exactly, a bit of sunshine in a bottle. Wouldn't that be nice?
Now, on top of that, I mean, there are so many vitamins, and I know a lot of our listeners do take supplements. I must admit, I don't. Now, we've mentioned 3 there, so the folic acid, the choline, and the vitamin D. Let's talk about the B group of vitamins, because that's one of the 5 that you recommend as well as being included.
Definitely. You need to get into B vitamins, and actually folate is one of the B vitamins.
Okay.
B9, which a lot of people are unaware of, but they are really important, and particularly for your energy during pregnancy, you're going to need extra vitamin D because you're really demanding a lot more energy. They actually think that during pregnancy, your metabolism, while you're sleeping, you're at a walking pace, wow. And while you're walking, you're at a running pace. Because you've got something growing inside you.
It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. You were just saying before that you're 3 months pregnant. So all of a sudden, all this research that you've done, all this advice you've handed on to patients, all of a sudden now you get to try it out for yourself. The reality is, this is your 5th tip, the reality is that there is no one thing that causes birth defects. I guess that's a bit frustrating for people who just want the recipe for a perfect, healthy baby, boy or girl.
Yeah, I think that's why I've combined it in a multivitamin, because there is no one nutrient. We've concentrated on folate for a long time, and that is very important, but we need a combination of things. And also the diet as well. As a naturopath, I definitely advocate the diet. The way I see a multivitamin, it is your insurance policy. It's making sure you're getting everything you need, but it's not a substitute for a good diet. You still want to be looking at all your green leafies, all your fresh nutrients and foods. So you really need to be eating a wide variety of things in your diet as well. But during pregnancy, as I've experienced as well, you can feel cravings, you can feel nauseous sometimes. Sometimes you really don't feel like eating a lot. So the way the multivitamin acts is just to make sure your baby is getting everything, even if sometimes you're not.
Yeah, and look, we have talked a lot this morning on diet in particular, and I guess that, that's an area that you've followed up. But the stress level of the mother too, I know that that's a big impact. And there are a lot of other things in the picture that put you in the best position to have a baby.
Definitely, and I think a lot of people prepare the nursery. They'll spend months and months decorating, painting, but the most important nursery is inside you. That's where the baby is doing most of its growing. It really fascinates me how quickly this little person can develop from nothing, and yet we don't put enough priority on preparing that. we may do afterwards and take our supplements, but preparing that nursery, which is the most important nursery they will ever have probably, we really need to put more focus on preparing that, and definitely stress levels will impair conception as well as lacking in nutrients. If you don't have enough zinc in your system, you won't be ovulating properly, you won't be producing healthy eggs. Same with the male as well. So you really want to prioritise that, and also know your days of conception, know your ovulating cycle, listen to your body. People are getting older when they're conceiving, and each month you only have a 24-hour window in which to conceive. So unless your body is at its prime, you really are lacking in chances of conception. And that's why we also have an iPhone application on for download on a website as well that can actually predict and track their fertile days. So really enhance your chances of conception all round.
Well, haven't we come a long way since our grandmother's day? It sounds so complicated, but, as you've been through the research, you've found the key points. We've just looked at a few this morning. It's actually not that complicated. And do the research or check out the website. You've got a stack of things there too. I'll put it up through Mornings Out Live Facebook page soon. It's actually not that hard. Really simple procedures can provide you the best future for your child.
Exactly, and that's what really my aim was with this, is to make it simple. There is a lot of confusing information out there. I've spent 18 months digesting it all and synthesising it all and really making it simple, because it really should be. This should be an exciting time you're enjoying and embracing, not being scared and worried about what you're doing. So I wanted something that is a one-stop shop that they can go to and feel confident that they're getting the best for their little baby.
That's for sure. I was, in fact, just thinking before we did the interview, Tasha, about that old nursery rhyme that said little boys are made of frogs and snails and puppy dogs' tails, and little girls are made from sugar and spice and all things nice. It's not the recipe, but, just some simple tips that people will get from you if they connect with your website, as far as some simple things that they can do to make good little girls and boys.
Exactly. They can connect to me directly through the website.
Yeah, fantastic.
So by contact me there.
Well, look, good to chat with you today, Tasha Jennings, researcher and naturopath, and certainly on the ball to having a good baby, and she's even going through the procedure of doing it herself just to help you out too. So thanks for doing that. And look, all the best with your pregnancy too. Let us know about how it goes in, I guess, around about 6 months' time.
Yes, thanks very much, Jane.
You're listening to 107.9 Life FM. Love chatting with our guests here on Friday mornings, and check out life.on.net for more details.